Hi, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Channel 6 TV Community Focus. I'm Kenny Fogel, your host here in Nelson County. Glad you could join us tonight, and it's political season. As you know, between now and I think it's November 6th, we'll be talking about a lot of political candidates, a lot of things going on. We only ask you to do one. Well, actually do a couple things. First of all, is pay attention to who's running. And no, we're going to help you with that part. We'll provide as many candidates as possible to let you know what the issues are, who the candidates are, and who it is to vote for. And that's the second part. That's the part where you really do come in, and that's vote. And we do ask everybody to show up to vote, and whether you're in Lebanon, Springfield, Bardstown, wherever, we want you to vote. So today we're going to concentrate a little bit on the city of Bardstown, because that's what we have today. Mr. Nicholas Shanks here with us today. Nicholas, first of all, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Well, Nicholas, you're a candidate here for Bardstown City Council.
Yes, sir.
And it's the first time you ever ran for city council, ran for anything. Before we go into that as to why you ran, who's Nicholas Shanks?
All right, well, a little bit about myself. My name's Nicholas Shanks. I'm running for Bardstown City Council, 32 years old. I've lived in Bardstown most of my life. I'm an Army veteran, married, I have 3 children, work here locally at Mitsuba. It's an automotive plant across the street from Tower. I'm a quality engineer there.
Was you in the Army?
Well, went in as a mechanic, as a Bradley Fighting Systems mechanic. I did some different things. I deployed to Iraq. I spent some time in South Korea, in El Paso, Texas.
Now, Iraq and South Korea and Texas, that's pretty different, I guess. I mean, you get to see a lot of the world there. I always say, and I mean this sincerely, sometimes I think you have to get out of your community and out of the county just to really find out how much you know about your own hometown. Because, I mean, I was raised here, but if I'd never left, I don't think I'd appreciate coming back here as much. I think people talk about how they love their community. I think a lot of it is you didn't have to come back.
No, I didn't. And a lot of the reason I came back is because I saw so much of the world. When I was young, I just wanted to get out of this place. And living in other countries and other places in the United States, there's a lot of different culture just here in the United States. And, it was a really eye-opening experience, but also made me want to come back to my town when I was done.
Well, you pick up a lot of education. I think education is extremely important. And education is not always sitting in a classroom. Education a lot of times is sitting in a foreign country or just walking down the street in a foreign country. You get that funny feeling, that you're not in the middle of the Bardstown anymore.
Yeah. But it's strange. There are a lot of similarities, though. Anywhere you go, I find.
Yeah.
There's different, but there's always something that reminds you of home.
Yeah. So you came home and you got a job, got married, you got some kids. So family life, that's something that appealed to you, or something you just have been planning on all along, or is it just come along?
I didn't necessarily. I mean, I figured I'd always have kids, but I wasn't rushing it. I just, met the right person, and it just kind of happened.
Yeah. So, have you ever been political before? I mean, anything ever indicated to you along the way? I like politics or government, or just something you didn't pay a whole lot of attention to?
Oh, I've always loved history and civics, political science. I love those classes in high school. It was always something I was interested in. I always watched the news since I was a little kid.
Yeah.
I've always followed politicians and policy. It's just something I've always, I didn't necessarily know if I always wanted to get into it, but I knew that it was kind of inevitable just from my interest in it and my love of it and my passion about it.
Well, something drove you to file the papers this time. I mean, all of a sudden, you're 32 years old, decided it's time to pull the trigger.
Well, yeah, that and my wife, asked me what I was waiting for, so I went ahead and, signed up.
Well, do you see a lot of problems in city government, or you see something that needs to be improved or fixed, or you just like things the way they are and you want to make sure they stay the way they are? I mean, what's going on with you?
Well, it's a little bit of both. I have a lot of respect for the people on city council, and I like the direction Bardstown has been heading. I like all the focus on our uniqueness. Especially with Bourbon Festival coming up, that's a really good money maker for the town. It's really good, and also, they're bringing in a lot of plants, which I like, but it's not so much that I see problems. I just always I believe in, well, a little bit about myself. I'm a quality engineer. I work at a Japanese company, and the Japanese, anybody works, especially automotive manufacturing for Japanese country, has heard this term called Kaizen. And so they live by it, and it's continuous improvement. So even though I'm happy with the way Bardstown is right now, there's always things that can be improved upon, and that's one of the reasons I'm running. I've identified a few things that I would like to, invest in, educate myself on, things that I think can really help secure Bardstown's future.
So what is it, if there was a particular platform, somebody said, why would I want to vote for Nicholas Shanks? What is it? What are you going to do that somebody else is not going to do? Or what is it special about you?
Well, my biggest focus is on enriching the citizens of Bardstown, and by that I mean giving them opportunities to succeed. I work in manufacturing, and right now, the economy's booming. All these plants are bringing in new business, they're bringing in new people, and I want more of the people of Bardstown to be able to fill these positions. So what I want to focus on, one of the first things I want to focus on, which is adult education and the skills gap. There's a lot of jobs out there where you don't need a lot of skills, but you have to have them. And there's only so many places you can get them. And I find, especially my company and everybody, they're having to go outside of the community to find the people like welders, maintenance men, electricians, engineers, management. And I just think that it would be wise for us, it'd be sage for us, since there's so many manufacturing places that are opening up. I mean, Thai Summit just opened up, Takagawa just broke ground. I mean, we need to really invest in a pipeline, and that being, maybe start small with just some classes locally being offered through ECTC or something like that, and then maybe eventually expand into a satellite campus, or maybe one day, a Bardstown Community Technical College, because that's really, having facilities like that, manufacturers look at that when they're looking at places that they want to build their next plant, and that's one of the things they love, is knowing that they can go there and people are ready to work with the skills they need to succeed. So that's something I want to focus on. And another thing I want to focus on is housing. There's a shortage of middle income housing. I feel there's a big gap in prices, and I want to see more housing, middle income housing being built in the city limits, but also with respect to the downtown district, the historic district, which really makes our town unique and special, and makes our town a lot of money. So I don't want to interfere with that, but at the same time, I'd like to see more people living in town than having to choose to live outside of town, because there's just not a lot of housing available.
Well, you're exactly right. People living in town would be a whole lot better as far as food sources, as far as cutting down traffic, because I've seen growth. I mean, growth has been tremendous in Bardstown and Nelson County over the last 30 or 40 years. I mean, it's just exploded. And so I don't know if you could really, we're still a small town. There's no question about that, but we're growing. And I think that's an issue that government is really scrambling to keep up with.
And that's what it all comes down to, is I feel like regardless of what we do, Bardstown's going to grow. And that's how towns work. They either grow or they die. And we need to decide how we want it to grow, because it's kind of an inevitable thing.
Yeah. So you see the festivals and things we have as a good thing here in Nelson County?
Well, being a Bardstown citizen, I get annoyed every year around this time with the traffic, and my cell phone doesn't work because too many people on the tower. But in the end, I mean, I'm proud of the Bourbon Fest. I'm proud of the craft fair. I meet people from outside, the community, outside the state, that know about the bourbon capital of the world. They know about the Bourbon Festival. And, it's something that I want to see get bigger and better every year. And I'll just have to deal with being inconvenienced, I guess, for a couple weekends.
So politics, you think is getting into, not necessarily politics, but government service, I guess it is two separate things. There's some people that strive to get a position, and some people actually want to serve their community. So is that something that you feel like you want to do for the rest of your life, or it's a short-term thing, or how do you, or are you living for the day?
Well, I've always enjoyed serving the community and being involved. I like to volunteer, especially coaching. I volunteered for a little bit for NYSCA, assistant coaching for soccer, and I really enjoyed that. I really enjoy connecting with the citizens and helping them and getting in touch with them. As far as the political side, this is my first foray into it, so we'll have to see how it goes. But I mean, I'll always be active in my community.
So getting out and campaigning, obviously that's something you have to do whether you want to or not. You have to get out and meet people. So when you go out and people ask you questions, basically what's the concerns you see with people are having? Do they looking for a voice they can trust?
Well, trust is a big thing. a lot of people talk about, and you know, they want somebody, that's trustworthy. I think a lot of people also want to see younger faces and newer faces on the council. Regardless of how things are going, people just kind of seem that they want something different from time to time. And I have some of my own ideas, but also really, it's not just about me. I see myself, if I did get elected, as a servant of the people in the truest sense. So, I really look forward to reaching out more in the community, and getting to the root of the things that people want to see change. Because that's, I like results. I don't just like to say things. I like to see them carried out.
Yeah. So if somebody needs to get a hold of you after you get elected, I mean, are you pretty easy to get a hold of?
Oh yeah, I'm easy to get a hold of. I'm pretty easy approachable guy. If you see me at Walmart, or you want to call my phone number, I like to hear what's going on, and I like to do what I can do to fix it.
Huh. Well, Nicholas, is there anything you'd like to say to the voters or anything before voting day? The camera's all yours.
Nothing really. I just, thank you for having me out. I hope that, good people of Barstown make it out to vote on November 6th, and remember to vote for me.
Okay, all right. Well, Nicholas Shanks here running for Barstown City Council. And again, he hit the nail on the head. The booths open on November 6th. Actually, you can go do a little bit ahead of time if you'll do some absentee voting. But the main thing is vote. And we can't push that too hard, because we certainly want people to get out there and cast their ballot. And we got people on the ballot that have been doing a lot of hard work. And we ask you to do one little thing, and that's to go out and pick your candidate of choice. Because six people, I think it was 11 people, I believe, running. 11 people running for 6 seats. So it's going to make a difference who shows up and how you decide. So Nicholas Shanks here with us. Appreciate you stopping by with us today, and we wish you all the best.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you very much. We'll be back right after this here on Community Focus, Channel 6 TV.